Hello and welcome back to St. Thomas Aquinas for everyone. My name is Dave Palmer, and thank you so much for spending this time learning the Summa. You know, these videos are only about 10 minutes long, and if you commit yourself to 10 minutes a day, by the end of this year, you are going to know the Summa better than 99% of the people in the world, probably even more than that. So thank you for joining me. I love your comments and your questions, even if you don't agree with Thomas or agree with my examples. I love the healthy debate and just the conversation, so feel free to comment below. All right, we are learning about the 5 proofs for the existence of God, and as of now, we've done 3 of them. We've done the proof from motion, the proof from cause, and also yesterday the possibility and necessity proof of the existence of God. And today is the second favorite that I have personally. My most favorite is the one we'll do tomorrow, which is the governance of the world or intelligent designer one. I just, for some reason, like that one a lot. This one I like a lot as well because it's so easy to apply this to our everyday life because we experience perfection just about every day of our life many, many times, and I'll explain that towards the end of this video exactly what I mean by that. Let's move on, and Thomas says in this proof of the existence of God that we observe more and less in things varying degrees of perfection. Now you might say, well, what does that mean, that we observe these in our everyday life? What if I were to say and ask you, when you think of holiness, especially like somebody who has lived in the last 20 or 30 years, passed away and during that time, who's kind of the quintessential holy person that most people would think of? Now, you might think your Aunt Sally or your Uncle Ben is holy, and certainly they may be, but I think a lot of people will say Mother Teresa. What was it about her that made people think this is a holy woman? All right, let's move on to another example. If I were to say, who was kind of the quintessential intelligent, smart person? When people talk about somebody that's really smart, they almost always talk about Albert Einstein, right? You know Einstein, or that kind of thing. Albert Einstein, rightly so, known for his intelligence, the theory of relativity and all that kind of stuff. All right, so these people to some degree hold a degree of perfection, at least in people's minds. Now, Mother Teresa would be the first one to say she's not perfect in holiness, and certainly Albert Einstein, there were things that he still had to learn. What about in sports? Now, if you're about my age or thereabouts, you will recognize instantly this young lady who in 1984 won the all-around gold medal in the Summer Olympics, which I think were in Los Angeles at the time, Mary Lou Retton. And she got a lot of 10 scores, which meant basically the judges thought that she had a perfect performance in that particular routine, right? So this is somebody who exhibited perfection to a certain degree, because there were other gymnasts that didn't do as well as she did, and they didn't get perfect scores. If you're a football fan, and I say, who is the best NFL quarterback of all time? Most people are going to say it's this guy, Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. All right, he's very, very good, but he's not perfect, because if he's perfect, he would have never thrown an interception or an incompletion, and no quarterback ever does that. But this just goes to show you that we do establish certain perfections in our culture in people that we look up to, so for a certain degree of perfection. They are related to a certain maximum, the maximum of quarterbacking or holiness or intelligence, right, or gymnastics. So we see it every day. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So Thomas Aquinas will say that, we have to look at these maximums. Think of report cards. If your kid came home and said, Dad, I got an 87 on my math test, you would have to say, well, I think he means an 87 out of 100, because the 87 only makes sense if there is some maximum to which it is being compared, right? If it's 87 out of 1,000, that's a pretty lousy score, but 87 out of 100 is pretty good. Here's a report card. So agriculture a 93, defense an 80, homeland security a 36. These scores only make sense if there's a maximum to which they're being compared. And Thomas goes on to say that there must be an uttermost being of perfection. All right, so all these perfections that we experience every day, there has to be something that ultimately is perfect in order that these things down here below participate in that perfection. And he says the maximum of any genus is the cause of all things in that genus. Remember the causes, the Aristotelian four causes: material, formal, efficient, and final cause. Like I said the other day, these are going to keep coming back, and it's very important that with everything that we experience in our life, there is a cause. There's a formal cause, a final cause, a material cause, an efficient cause. And so, again, we'll come back to this, but keep those in your mind, and hopefully you'll memorize what those four causes are. All right, Thomas goes on to say that there must be a cause of all perfection. There's a cause of the perfect sunset, or the perfect dog, or the perfect spouse, right? Who is that cause? Well, you can probably guess what he's going to say. It's God. Okay, and this is the proof of the existence of God, is that we experience perfection, and all these little perfections have to have an ultimate cause. Let me kind of boil this down to our everyday life. What are some of the things that you experience that you consider perfect? Well, for me, the perfect vacation, the perfect city is St. Augustine, Florida. I just love being there. I love the beach. I love the pier, the sunrise. To me, it's just my happy place. So I see a certain degree of perfection when I go there. Maybe you have a different place. Go ahead and comment below. What's your perfect place? What's your happy place? What about this? Going out to a restaurant and just having the perfect steak. Now, you shouldn't just say, wow, this is a perfect steak. You should say, God created the cow that allowed me to enjoy this perfect steak. Okay, so you got to start going back and taking these perfections to their cause. The perfect art. When I see this picture, I love the colors, I love the brightness, I love the man and the woman, the romance. To me, there's a lot of perfection in this particular piece of art. Some beautiful artist created it, but the only reason that artist could create perfection was because of the God that created the artist and allowed him or her to create this perfect piece of art, right? And how about babies? Is this not just the most beautiful baby? Every time you see a baby, you should say, praise God. This is a creature made to the image and likeness of God. And I don't care if it's a cute little baby like this, or if it's a homeless person, or your worst enemy. That person is made to the image and likeness of God. They have a certain degree of perfection about them, and that immediately should trace us back to God as the creator, as the efficient cause, all right? All right, so now we have done 4 proofs for the existence of God. What has been your favorite? Like I said, this is my second favorite. Tomorrow's my favorite. What's your favorite? Do they make sense? Are they convincing? Does it help you understand and maybe explain or even defend the existence of God? Well, I hope so. And again, it all ties together, and that's what I'm trying to do. We're on our way to coming to a greater knowledge of God through our lived experience here on earth, through what we can come to know, what we sense, what we experience, right? That's the whole point of the Summa Theologia. That's going to do it for now. Thank you again for joining. Please comment below. Tell your friends about this. 10 minutes a day. And by the end of this year, you are going to be an expert on the Summa Theologia. It's also going to impact the way you live and the way you experience and see the world. I'm Dave Palmer. Thank you for joining me here on St. Thomas Aquinas for everyone. God bless you.